Now that you've spent some time using SolidWorks sheet metal tool, we're going to use those same tools to practice developments. Developments are basically the flattened state of a sheet metal part, but aren't necessarily restricted to just sheet metal. They could be boxes or even something just like paper. If you want to read up more on what developments are, you can go to page 385 in the hardcover book, The Technical Drawing with Engineering Graphics. So I'm going to have a couple exercises I'll have you do to practice developments, but I'm going to show you, just using this simple cube, how to get started. So I'm going to have you do two things. One, convert a solid object like this cube into sheet metal, and then secondly, I'll have you start with a flattened state and bend it into something like this cube. So first step, I'm going to show you how to, well, if you went through the Solid Professor tutorials, they did show you how to use the convert to sheet metal, but I'll give you a quick refresher. So if I'm on my sheet metal tab, this second button here says convert to sheet metal. I click on that. The first thing it wants from me is to select the fixed entity. So that's going to be something like the bottom of this cube, if this thing will let me rotate. Okay. So I'm going to select the bottom. And then the next step is to select the bend edges. So I want it to bend here, 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 and let's say here. Now that's going to create, as that folds up, it'll create the cube. And you can kind of see where the gaps would be. I'm using 0.1 millimeter, so basically I'm treating this as if it was paper. So here's the gap. I think if I set it to 0.2, it will still work. I think anything lower than that, it was giving me an error. Let's check. Nope, looks like I can go at least to 0.1. Okay, so let me hit check. And there, if I go to flatten, there's what basically a development is. So I'm now switch over and show you how to do that, starting in this flat state and then bend it into a cube. So I've already got my sketch started here. And now I just have to, I'm going to use the, let's see here. Oh, I got to turn this into, oh, let me quick go into my sketch here. So that's the basic shape. I'm gonna, to make this easier on myself, I can't draw my lines right on the corners, otherwise it won't bend. So I'm gonna put there's different ways of doing this, but this is just the way I prefer to do it. A circle here at 0.2, and then I'm gonna turn it into construction. And I'm going to put some, there's that, points here. This just gives me a quick spot to attach my bend lines to. The other thing I'll do is I'm going to right click and sketch tools and select split entities. I'm going to split this line here and here. And once again, this gives me a quick spot to attach my bend lines to. Also, I'm going to set this line equal to this line, so where's that at? Okay, here. That's going to bend up to the same height as this, and then also set this to the same width as that. So when that bends over on to the top of the part, it's the same length here. This isn't going to be exact. I'm not looking for this to be a perfect part. I'm just looking for kind of practicing visualizing what the flat state of any kind of solid object would be. So I'm going to hit check mark there and exit out of that. Make it into my flange. Once again, I'm in 0.1 to kind of represent just like paper. K factor of 0.5, that's good. Auto relief, all that's good. So now I'm going to click on Sketch Bend, click on the surface. Let's unhide my sketch here. And I'm gonna draw my lines. So there's my point. And see if I can get that to snap. Looks like I'm gonna have to manually constrain that. Point. Sure, it's snapping to that stuff now. There we go. I'm gonna quick make some construction lines so I can mirror these two lines. Let's constrain those. Okay. So mirror. Oops. Mirrored on that line. Good. Mirror. How about that line? Okay. And then I'll throw in one more line. Right there to right there. Okay. So select my fixed spot right there, and it bent it up into basically the shape we were looking for. Like I said, not going to be perfect. So there's a huge gap there. That means I just need to modify where that bend right there would need to be, probably add more material if we were looking to make these perfect. But the practice is just to get it to do, basically get into the right shape. Check. And that's good enough. So I'll post on the assignment what I'm looking for. It's going to be out of that hardcover book. So if you don't have that in class, I can scan the page for you. But it's, like I said, it's going to be using that convert to sheet metal to kind of give a quick visualization of what the flat pattern would look like. And then from there, try to start from a flat pattern and fold it into the solid shape.